Our unconscious mind is running our business, our lives, 95% of the time. So how are you meant to find your life purpose? How are you meant to have a successful business if you've got the unconscious sabotaging you? It's like when you know who you are at your core, when you have a strong connection to your true self, when you've got inner peace and joy is your baseline. In other words, you are happy. You are an incredibly successful person. The first thing you have to do is go, wow, what has been triggered off in me that I would be feeling this? That's the first question, because that means you're taking absolute and total radical personal responsibility. Let's get to the bottom of that. And then you just clear it out. Do not allow anything that causes those things to stay in your system, because they just keep building up and building up and building up.
And that's next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. So, the big question is this: how are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough, use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams? Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Hey listeners and viewers, we have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. Come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. That is bootstrapping.group. If you like this video, do not forget to hit that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button and give us your feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tetranoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Sandra Biskind. Sandra is a remarkable spiritual luminary and healer who helps people undo their own self-entrapment. She is committed to working with leaders who are passionate about attaining the next level of success and making a global impact. Sandra is the author of the book Codebreaker, Discover the Password to Unlock the Best Version of You. She is the CEO of Sandra and Daniel Biskind, Heart Power Limited, a firm she has been running since the year 2000. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Great. Awesome. So first, I would like to know about your theories about the life purpose. You have your own life purpose, which you have described in your book, but you also teach how people can find their own life purpose. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the majority of the work that we do and what is described in the system in Codebreaker is really about clearing out unconscious programs, unconscious beliefs, ideas, and stories that would stop us from living our life purpose. Now, our life purpose really is to evolve, grow, and have fun in relationship, in our businesses, making money, just enjoying life, and that's not what is happening. So really, if you think that your purpose is to evolve, grow, and have fun, then what is it that you need to do in order to come to that place where that is what is happening? And most people, when they teach and they coach and mentor, it's kind of like, it's great stuff, but it's on the surface, it's conscious, right? We don't work here at all. We're only interested in working in the unconscious. And if you think about it, our unconscious mind is running our business, our lives, 95% of the time. So how are you meant to find your life purpose? How are you meant to have a successful business if you've got the unconscious sabotaging you And that is what is happening most of the time to people.
I see. And can you shed some light why does this happen? Like, why do we pick up all these negative energies in our subconscious mind? Is it to do something with our childhood, or, so, I mean, obviously, you will have much more knowledge, but from what I know, it has a lot to do with our childhood, but, I would like to know your perspective on things.
Yeah, so just imagine this, and you're really spot on. It does have a lot to do with our childhood, but it doesn't start there. I mean, obviously, when we're in the womb, science has told us that the baby can hear what the parents are saying, what they're going through. They can feel the emotions. So we start getting conditioned from then. And then from the moment we're born, we're either hearing we're a beautiful baby or we're not. We're either being held or we're not. And so we're constantly making decisions around what we're feeling. Did you get that? Because that's really important.
Yeah.
We have an event, then we have an emotion around that event, and then we make a decision. So really, one of our life purposes is to find out what those decisions are so that we can change them. It does start in childhood, but it's much deeper than that. Just imagine this. We all know that we all have DNA in our cells, which is the information center for our beingness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our information has been handed down to us from our ancestors, our mothers, fathers, and so on. So you might have a line of mothers and a line of fathers who, let's say they went through the Depression, or, they went through a time where there was no money, no food, and they've made decisions like, oh, there'll never be enough to eat. And all of a sudden, you're wondering why you're gaining weight and eating everything that you can. And it's because there's a program in there handed down to you that says there'll never be enough to eat. So obviously you have to eat whenever you can. Can you see how that works?
Yeah.
From my perspective, though, I'm also saying that we are energetic, multidimensional spiritual beings.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, we also have past, present, and future lives, and we're living in other dimensions all at the same time. Now, obviously, you don't have to believe in this. That's just great. But I use that in our work because I actually have the physical 3D reality of that. When I'm working with my clients, if an event, emotion happened that is affecting you now and sabotaging your business, for instance, or your ability to make money, your ability to have the love of your life, to be happy, simply to be happy, then your small child or teenager actually literally appears to me in front of me, then I can see them, or a past life of yours will appear to me. Your mother, father will. As a medium, I guess I've got a bit of a special one-upmanship on a lot of coaches and mentors in that I can actually see and speak to all that you are, which means that this is the depth that we go to when you're working with us. It's like it's nothing about the conscious mind. It's all unconscious. It's past, present, future. And that way you're clearing out and becoming whole. But honestly, I knew as a young girl that enlightenment was what it was about, but enlightenment would stop suffering, mine, yours, and everyone else's. And then as I began to research this and have these incredible awakening experiences, I realized that wasn't enough. I was still going through trauma. I still wasn't as happy as I could be. And so what I realized was that beyond enlightenment, it's a state of wholeness. And to become whole, you need to clear out and do the work and do what it takes to work in the unconscious. And that's why this is so exciting, because it's revolutionary human technology, and it's an easy, simple system. Like when you get Codebreaker, this is not just a book, it's a system that is describing what I'm telling you now, what I'm explaining. So that's why it's so much fun. And then it's fun to learn about you, right? Because if you think about it, you are the most important person in your life.
Yeah. So, this is profound for sure. What I picked up was there are two steps. Obviously there may be more steps here, but two very important things to work on. One is to realize what is blocking us. I mean, that's in itself is a huge, huge thing to uncover. And the next step is, once you figure it out, then you need to sort of undo that or fix that or address it. So these are two very big steps. And do you think this is possible for anybody? They can do this on their own?
Yes, they can, because I've described exactly how to do it step by step in the book. And it's why people come to our live events and do our online programs, by the way, because we do it for you. And obviously, once you've had it done for you, it makes it easier for you to do it yourself. But in chapter neutrality in the book, there's 8 chapters. In the chapter called neutrality, all of these steps are described as to how you can do it for yourself. You just came up with something really beautiful then, by the way, when you said the 2 steps. One was, discovering what is blocking us, and the other one is, deleting the emotional charge. Because if you think about it, if you delete the emotional charge around a painful event, it's like, well, that event did happen, but you're no longer being affected by it. And that's the result. Happiness is something that a lot of people don't feel. It's easy to knock you off a happiness and out of a happiness state, isn't it? Because so many things that are coming at us and that we've got going on, and all of these programs and beliefs, ideas and stories. And when you're attached to a story, by the way, that attachment is the low frequency blocker to neutrality. And I think you'll love this, but I believe that neutrality is another, well, I don't believe it. I think that neutrality is another word for enlightenment, because it's when your buttons are no longer being pushed. You might be going into a meeting, for instance, and you're thinking, oh no, not that person again. Oh no, I don't have to confront that. Or I've got to give a speech, and all of a sudden you're no longer in neutrality. You're no longer calm and ready to go and confident. You've lost trust. You're in a place of anxiety. You're no longer confident because you're out of trust. And of course, you're not neutral, so that you've lost faith about what the outcome is going to be. And so there's programs running going, oh, I'm not good enough. I haven't prepared. They won't like me. Like, there's a whole lot of things going on. Imagine if you could walk into a meeting and know that you have done the preparation, that you can trust that you will deliver it, and that you will be wise because you're tapped in, and everything will turn out exactly as it should. I mean, that's a very different place, because that's a place where success happens, right?
Yeah.
The other place where you're in victim mode.
Sure. Now you brought up an important point about success, and we are living in a very materialistic society. A lot of people attach success to materialism and how much money they make and things of that nature. So do you think that's the right attitude? Is that going to lead us to true happiness?
Well, no. What leads to true happiness is the inner work, right? It's like when you know who you are at your core, when you have a strong connection to your true self, when you've got inner peace and joy is your baseline. In other words, you are happy. You are an incredibly successful person. And guess what happens when you're in that state? Outwardly, success is magnetized to you. So there's 2 steps. One is work on your inner game first and become a billionaire in the state of happiness. And then as you do that, how you show up is just as important as what you say when you show up and what you do, right? So your beingness state, your state of being, actually is what manifests people to you. I'll just give you a quick little story. One of my private clients was going into a New York publisher. She was having a meeting, and she desperately wanted her new book to be, taken on by this particular publisher. And she rang me and just before the meeting said, oh, hang on, I'm just not feeling good about this meeting. I'm anxious, I'm worried. And we just broke it down, found out where the anxiety was coming from. We knew she'd, moved out of a place of trust. And I went through her marketing, what she was doing with the book. We tweaked a few things. Honestly, it was 1 hour on the phone. And 3 hours later, she rang me up. She said, you will not believe this. I just got $1 million advance on this book. And that just isn't happening in the publishing world these days.
Yeah,
and she said, you did that. And I burst out laughing, and I said, no, you did that, because you walked into that meeting. You're in a game, your level of trust, your level of neutrality, your level of peace and joy was so powerful that when you talked about this book, those people wanted whatever it was you had. They just wanted what you had. And so they were prepared to pay for it. And when I said to her, well, what were you expecting to get? She said, well, maybe $250,000 if I was lucky. She 4x'd what she got because she showed up her inner game in check, right? She'd gotten rid of the events, emotions, and decisions that were creating a sabotage mode for her, took her out of trust and neutrality and peace. And she walked in there in such joy and confidence. So what do you think success is? Because, I know she wouldn't have got that $1 million advance if she hadn't actually come to that place.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing that story. Now, on the flip side, a lot of people sort of take it the other way when they sort of, let go of any hard work, they let go of any sort of effort, and they just say, think that, okay, things will happen if I just work on being happy. So is that the right way to go? Like, renouncing everything and just sort of letting the universe take over?
Well, if you wanted to sit in a cave or on a mountaintop meditating for the rest of your life, probably. But if you're living in our 3D world on this planet Earth and you want to have a business and a family and to have the things that you want to have whilst you're here and to play this fantastic game, which it can be, then no, that's not it at all. I mean, everybody, look, even evolving, growing and having fun takes work. Everything, Daniel and I have been diligent students. We've done what it takes to get to this place where we can live in the state that we live in. And that was work. I mean, it doesn't feel like work when you're doing it because you bring to it a sense of joy and love and everything happens beautifully, right? Like doing this interview with you right now, this is fun. And so, but you and I are doing the work because we want to impact the world. We want to help set people free. We want to have an impact as well. And so if you think about it, we're doing the opposite of what those people are thinking they should do. But this is bringing us both a lot of joy, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as we go through this exercise, we are discovering our inner beliefs, which are self-sabotaging, and we are trying to remove them. But as we go through life, we are picking up new beliefs as well, which may themselves be sort of negative. So is it like a continuous process? We watch ourselves and sort of, see how many negative beliefs we are taking on and sort of getting rid of that? Or like, how does that work? What is the mechanics of all this?
Oh, I love what you're saying. This is such a joy for me being here with you. Well, before I answer that, which this is about mindfulness, by the way. This is about understanding what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good. That's what we're really talking about. And that look, we all know when something feels negative and we all know when we're feeling negativity, fear or pain. Now, when we're feeling those things, the first thing you have to do is go, wow, what has been triggered off in me that I would be feeling this? That's the first question, because that means you're taking absolute and total radical personal responsibility. Something's been triggered off. I'm feeling negativity, fear or pain. Let's get to the bottom of that. And then you just clear it out. You do not allow anything that causes those things to stay in your system because they just keep building up and building up and building up. But in Codebreaker, it says discover the password to unlock the best version of you. And by the way, we've been talking about the password all of this time so far because the password, and for people who haven't read the book yet, this will be a spoiler alert, but the password is platinum, and platinum stands for peace, which we've been talking about, love, awareness, being aware of how you show up in the world because how you show up in the world affects everyone around you. And then trust, which we've spoken a lot about already. So the frequency blocker to trust, of course, is worry. Integrity, neutrality, unity, that sense of oneness, and mindfulness. Now, when you go through the system in the book, the system actually helps you understand where you've picked up negative life patterns, where you've got negative stories running, right? And so you actually have the opportunity to move beyond them. And what's great about the system is, so with the system, not only do you learn how to master that beautiful octave of 8, high frequency being the states that we all aspire to live in. And if you don't aspire to live in, give it a go, because that's where success resides. It resides in platinum. And then where sabotage and failure reside is on the opposite side of platinum. And that's where you come into the blocking frequencies to them. And we all know, look, everyone's got people that they need to forgive. And if you haven't forgiven them, you will never know peace. So unforgiveness blocks peace. And if you go through the system, one man at one of our live events, we wrote platinum down one side and then we wrote the blocking frequencies to it on the other side, which, by the way, is where the negativity resides. And he looked at the board and he said, "Oh, I've been living on the wrong side of platinum all of my life." And it was such an eye-opener for him. And what the interesting thing that happened was that I got him up and I actually went into what his money blocks were in business, and he was a real estate agent. And we went through, discovered what the money blocks were. I completely neutralized and deleted the emotional charge around them. And then we all went to lunch. He came back an hour and a half later. He said, "This cannot be real." He said, "I just had 2 firm offers for 2 multi-million-dollar homes during that lunch break that I didn't think I would be selling." He said, "What was that?" And I mean, he was so funny. And everyone in the room was laughing, because the minute you clear out what is stopping you from being successful, the negative mindset, the energies, the judgments, the stories that you have become attached to, the minute they've gone, what happens? Right? You've taken a deep breath, you've relaxed into your business, and all of a sudden, it just starts to happen for you. Yeah. And of course, you've got to have the properties to sell. Of course, you've got to be doing the work. But just makes total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And so from what I'm hearing, it's basically you equip yourself not to take on any more negative beliefs, or even if you do, you can recognize them just in time and sort of neutralize them. Is that correct understanding?
I think that's beautiful. And one last thing that we should add in there as well is that when there is something negative around you, and when you have gone maybe into a place of worry or fragmentation or obliviousness, or you're asleep to what is happening for you, when you go there, almost celebrate it, because it's like, oh, okay, look, I've just slipped out of, and I'll use the word platinum, right? I've just slipped out of platinum. That's not the best version of me. Okay, what do I need to do? And you go, yeah, I just have to do a U-turn, come back into my heart and find out, where I'm meant to be. Like if I'm worried, to me, worry says it's a road sign. You see it, you're feeling it, and you go, oh, gee, what don't I trust to be true? Do I actually trust that I've done the work here? Do I trust that everything is going to work out for the highest and best good? Or don't I? And then so when you go into negativity, you use the system to just do a U-turn and come back. So you don't go into judgment about being in judgment. You don't go into judgment about being negative, because that is then creating more negativity.
Okay, great. Now, one question that comes to mind is, once somebody has done the work, they know this is where their path is. There is another worry, because, people have families to support, people have kids, to support. So let's say, a person in their heart, they want to just, go travel the world, just leave their job, but there are consequences to others. How do you deal with that duality? Like, your responsibility, your future, the consequences of your actions on others versus your own happiness?
Yeah, look, that's a big question. And you have to, when we talked, I just spoke about taking radical personal responsibility. You really, for somebody in that position, they would have to ask themselves, what am I running away from? Mm-hmm. what is it? Like if I left my wife and children, what am I doing? You know, and what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Do I no longer want to be, you know, in this place? That's not the best version of who I am. That's totally out of integrity. I'm feeling fragmented, right? So in that place, that person would really need to take a long, hard look at what it is they do and don't want. And it could be that they simply want to divorce their wife and that they want out of the relationship they're in. And they're saying, oh, I want to travel, as a way of, you know, not confronting the reality of the situation. So I would say there is a reality and a reason why people want to do what they do. And people need to find it and be very honest about it.
Got it. Now, you also brought up this, good point that a lot of people are living on the opposite side of, as you put it, platinum. And how much the society plays a role in this? Because, you know, we are taught from childhood, you know, you got to be ambitious, you got to look out for yourself, and basically hold no punches when it comes to success or whatever the society sort of teaches us as their paradigm. So do you think that society plays a big role? Because I want to make sure that it's not all our responsibility. There is some environmental issues playing here as well. Is that correct or not?
Yeah, for sure. There's a world consciousness that affects us. There's world tragedy that affects us. Our teachers help mold us. I mean, the system, when you've got systems that don't promote your beingness state, that don't promote you showing up as the best version of you, then you're not going to, until you realize, hang on, this doesn't feel good. You know, hang on, do I really think it's okay to hurt other people? Do I really think it's okay to steal? Do I really think it's okay? You know, that's when you really have to look at, well, what am I really doing and what am I here for? And am I adding to the chaos? Am I adding to the negativity, or am I a part of the solution? And we are not, taught that. I mean, I guess when I was a child at school, which was a long 60 years ago, we were taught different things, and we were taught a lot of values. We weren't taught just look after yourself. We were taught about team sports, taught about compassion, kindness. Those things, we have to be taught them, because when we're babies, we're given everything, so we think everything's always going to be given to us. And it's a bit of a shock when it's not, isn't it? We had our little grandbaby on the video phone with us this morning, and he loved being with us, and then all of a sudden he wanted something else and he stamped his foot, and it was like, okay, we want what we want when we want it. But again, he needs to learn that that's not necessarily going to happen all of the time. Yeah.
That's great. Now, I talk about this topic with a few people. I discuss it. I'm sort of still in the path of learning all these things. But a lot of people, when I discuss this with them, they think we are talking about religion. We are talking about spirituality, and they sort of shut it off right there and then. So, can you share your views about this? Like, is this something to do with religion or spirituality or a new age concepts?
No, they're not. What Jack Canfield, who is the man who wrote, was responsible for the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. He's sold over 500 million books. He's been a huge inspiration and a great friend to us since we've moved to the United States. And he interestingly enough, he said that what our work is, he said it's a combination of ancient spiritual wisdom with modern day science, which creates a practical system for humans in this day and age to use. So what I see is that spirituality without the confines and the rules and regulations of religion is actually very freeing. It means that you're free to believe what you want when you want, but more going beyond belief. I'm not sure I love the word belief. I love the word knowing. You know, when I have a knowing in my heart that God is with me, when I have a knowing in my heart that when I pray, all that is happening for me and for the people that I love and pray for, that's very different from believing it. And I would love people to come to this place of knowing what is right, having the courage to follow through, just knowing with all of their heart and soul that this is the path for them. You know, like that's what it is. So when you mix ancient spiritual wisdom with modern day science, which is what we've done in Codebreaker, we back up a lot of the things we say from scientific research that's been done for, you know, forever. The last 50 years, millions of scientific research has been done on consciousness, past lives, mindfulness, you name it, everything. Yeah. And so we're combining that. And we also give people a list of books that they can use that we used to write Codebreaker. And I think that would be very interesting for people to go, oh, here's the spiritual wisdom and look at this. Look at what science says about that. That's a lot of fun.
Awesome, that's great. And so do you think some people in the audience, maybe atheists or agnostics, does this work for them as well? Yes. How can they sort of correlate their beliefs with what is being taught here?
Oh, I love that question. So when I'm working with people on any level, I always say to them, look, I use the word God because that's my reality. But if you don't like that word, great. Just substitute the word love. So if you're an agnostic or an atheist, there is still a part of you that knows that love is the most important energy in the cosmos. Without love, we may as well shrivel up and die. And so just imagine that I'm just saying love, right? I use love, which is this massive energy. When I'm saying energy, by the way, did you notice that? I'm not saying love emotion, I'm saying energy. That love is this massive energy that heals. And so for those of you, who can't grasp the concept of God or don't want to, that's fantastic. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. This system will work for you.
That's great. Now, let's get into the real world a little bit here. And can you describe some of the common attributes of the most successful people that you have interacted with? Yeah.
Well, I think one of the most common ones is integrity. So in business, if you don't have integrity within your own self, like if you're not whole, like the frequency blocker to integrity is fragmentation. So if you're fragmented, if you're one thing when you're on stage or in the boardroom or in your business, and then you're another thing when you're at home, that's a complete lack of integrity, right? Mm-hmm. So, you see a lot of speakers, they get up on stage and they're all revved up and they're saying this and that, and they get off the stage and they're yelling at somebody. That's out of integrity. That, for me, I admire most of all people who come from their heart, who absolutely understand that loving their clients, loving their students is a must. And I say to people, if you're working with a teacher, a mentor, a coach, if they don't love you, don't work with them, because you have to, if you love who you're working with, you give them all that you have. You don't hold back, and you come to a place of integrity, and that's where trust happens. So again, integrity and trust are two sides of one coin. And so the people that I trust in my life are the people that I know I would work with. I would call them and say, I need help, or I would call them and say, I know you're suffering, how can I help? Right? So trust, integrity, love, the big ones.
Awesome. That's great. Well, this has been a very enlightening conversation. Now we are running out of time, but is there anything else that you may want to share, which I haven't asked already?
I think just for people to understand that we've just skimmed the surface of a very deep topic here. And if they get Codebreaker, I would just say, get Codebreaker. It comes in Audible now too, which is really exciting. And we also created the Codebreaker journal. And we did this for a really good reason, because when you go through Codebreaker and you go through the system, you're going to want to dig deep into your own beingness and answer the questions truthfully. And you don't want to do it in Codebreaker because you're going to keep reading that over and over again. These journals are what you write in. And what I love about this is people have actually had measurable shifts since they've been working with this system. I had a call the other day with some people about the book, and they were just, my whole life has changed. Business has opened up to me. I'm more creative, more intuitive, all sorts of things. So, yeah, I would just say, look, we've spent 4 decades and 5 years in the writing and editing to create a system that is our legacy work to the world. Give it a go. It'll cost you practically nothing to work with us in the Codebreaker and the journal. And you will absolutely be able to see that you were here when you started the work, and now you're going to be here in a much happier, more joyous place.
That's great. Thank you so much. Now, before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you if they want to talk to you, or maybe attend one of your live events?
Yes. The best way to reach out to me is to go to The Biskinds, TheBiskinds, thebiskinds.com. And there's a lot of information about us. There's loads of wonderful free programs for you and meditations. And there's an events page where you can catch up with what we're doing. And if you want the book, I would suggest you go to codebreakerbook.com, and that's one word, codebreakerbook.com, because we've made and created 3 free meditations that are a part of the system, and you can download those and start listening to those straight away. And by the way, in October, we're going to do a free 5-day challenge where we're going to take people from the first day to the end day. And we're going to be doing some corrections, like digging into the unconscious, giving transmissions of divine energy, and really, the people in the challenge are doing the work, and we're giving away loads of fabulous prizes. So that would be something that your listeners would probably love to do.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's just been an honor to be with you, and to everybody who's listening and watching.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much. And that's all for now. Until next time. And if you're an existing or an aspiring tech entrepreneur, then I invite you to check out my new online workshop, Bootstrapping Your Tech Startup Dreams. Go to bootstraptechstartup.com and sign up for free. I want to make sure that more successful and sound decisions are made every day in your tech projects. Let's start finding solutions to your problems. So go to bootstraptechstartup.com, and I look forward to helping you with your tech projects. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.